It is time for the Shadows review. The long-awaited Assassin's Creed title in Japan is finally out, and the reaction obviously has not been how we expected it to be. The controversy with Yasuke is not it's not ideal for Ubisoft at this time because of their situation right now. But let's set that aside. We've already spoken about the controversy and all these other things related to Shadows in the previous two Assassin's Creed Shadows videos. But today we are here to talk about how the game is now that it's finally out. So I will structure this video in a way that the first half of the video will be completely non-spoiler, so I'll go over the story, the gameplay, and every other part of the game that won't contain spoilers. I'll still talk about the story, obviously, without spoilers. And then the second half will just be me talking about the story with full spoilers. So if you haven't finished the game or you don't want to be spoiled, then yeah, just watch the first half of the video, and then I'll give a spoiler warning again when I'm about to start talking about spoilers, so you can click off the video. So let's begin with the story of the game, the non-spoiler part. Uh, so Act One, the first act of the game, it begins very strong. You know that we start the prologue, and it's very good. The cutscenes are very nice. They're all mocapped for the most part, as they have been for all Assassin's Creed games. Even Odyssey, like most of the prologue was motion captured. A lot of the important scenes were motion captured, so that's not really a big deal. That's not a big concern. Prologues in Assassin's Creed games are mostly always pretty strong. So the prologue is very strong in this game. The tonal shift is crazy. If you've played Syndicate at Ubisoft Quebec, the tonal shift in this game is very just drastic. It's oceans apart. Um, but it kind of falls apart after Act One because Act One is very linear and something that most Ubisoft games have been doing now, where they sort of have adapted to a non-linear story structure. So Act Two is mostly non-linear, which is not great. I don't like non-linear stuff. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. In Assassin's Creed 1, you could argue that the target assassinations were non-linear, but since they were three targets that you could go about in any different order and you would learn different things from them, I think it worked better because like the story it just worked. With AC1 it worked, and I think they kind of tried to replicate that with a few recent games, not just Assassin's Creed games, but just Ubisoft games in general. But it's not working out for them. It's shooting them, they're shooting themselves in the foot because it you, you don't have you can't really develop your character if you can just go about killing targets in any order, which is what Act Two is mostly about. Act One, I won't spoil what you do, but Act One starts off pretty strong, and then with Act Two, you have a couple of these targets. Uh, it's up to you how you go about killing them. Of course, they are level gated, so you might say, okay, this target is level 34, this target is level 37, so I'll obviously do the level 34 target first and then the level 37 target first. That's not right. So, of course, you could do those targets in that order, which is probably how they want you to play the game, but that doesn't mean the development is linear. There's sort of because they know that you could go to the level 37 target and do that assassination first and then go to the level 34 target. So even if you make the argument that they're level gating it so it's kind of linear, it's not linear. It Sure, there's you might think that there's an order to do these things, but there's not. Uh, and if you play the game, you'll pretty much come to find out very soon that it's there's no sort of development that happens for Naoe and Yasuke between one target to the other. Uh, And of course, you'll notice this if you've played Assassin's Creed Mirage as well. The four targets that you have to kill before you reach the head of the order. Uh, there's you could do those in any order. They're very disconnected from each other, and that's also another problem that I have with this game. The targets are pretty much disconnected. There's not really much of a connection between them. So if you played Assassin's Creed 1, all the targets are essentially connected to each other in some way. So, Talal, he was the black market weapons dealer, and then you had Garnier de Naplouse, who he had the hospital, and he was healing people. He wasn't healing people. He was a bad guy. He breaks a guy's legs for trying to escape when you first meet him. He's not morally gray. Let's get that argument out of the window. Um, and he I Talal, yes, he was supplied by Talal. It was Tamir that was a black market weapons dealer. Sorry, I got confused there. So yeah, Talal was responsible for supplying Garnier those those slaves. So yeah, the targets in Assassin's Creed 1 are very strongly connected to each other. You know they are a part of one group. Whereas in this game, it feels very much like they're just random people that is sort of they have this tag on them. They have a tag on them basically that yeah we're part of this group, but they're mostly unrelated. They don't really know each other. It's like that one guy in a group project that never shows up, never does any work, but somehow gets credit. Uh, that's true here, except almost everyone is that guy. Um, but after after Act Two, which is kind of painful to get through because most of the targets are kind of boring. But unlike Mirage, where the targets were just nothing to you, you didn't know them. You just right before you're about to kill them, Bassam just has this cutscene and he's like, "Oh, you're a bad person. You're this. You're that." Here, you actually know the tar. You don't necessarily know the identity of the target, but you'll know what they have done, why they need to die, and everything like that. And that also reminds me, there's no white room, there's no Animus white room confession scenes in this game. Memory corridors, there's nothing. They don't have those. I I don't know why they decided to do that. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Especially when the memory corridor in this game, the white room looks so good. I mean, oh my god, I love it. But that I don't know. I mean, it's like with Quebec, they've surprised me with how good of a game they've made from a gameplay standpoint. But then they've also they've also fumbled that hard on like a story level. It's not to say that it's like terrible. I would still prefer it over maybe Odyssey, Syndicate, Unity. Unity, I'm not sure. I mean, I hate Unity, but it's still kind of Unity's more of a it's still linear, so I would maybe say it's better than Odyssey and Origins and Syndicate. So while they have done a great job with the gameplay, the story is hit or miss. Um, so Act 2 is mostly non-linear, as I've said. Act 1 is not like that at all. Act 1 is very linear, very strong, and it's nice. I like Act 1. Act 1 is very good. And also, if you're playing the game, make sure you're playing it in immersive mode and not with the English voice acting, because for me personally, I only liked Yasuke's voice actor and his acting, and there's like probably one or two characters that I don't want to reveal. That I like their acting, but for the most part, everyone is pretty bad. Naoi's voice actor, I'm sorry, she is not great, and I believe this is her first voice acting role, and you can tell because it's really not great. More like she's just reading lines off a script. You don't really feel that she's acting. It just feels like you're reading off a script. So yeah, you want to play this game in immersive mode because it's very good, and the I'm sorry, the lip syncing. Yeah, the lip syncing is it actually is different for Japanese. So it's not like you just have the English lip sync, but with Japanese audio. So they have actually tried to do the lip sync for Japanese, which is good. Um, but most of the cutscenes in this game are not motion captured, and they somehow managed to look worse than Odyssey, Valhalla, and Mirage's cutscenes that were not motion captured. The non, I mean, technically all these cutscenes are motion captured because all of these animations that you see, a character, holding their hand up or making a gesture or moving around or folding their arms in these cutscenes that are not motion captured, they were all recorded in a motion capture studio. They were all done individually. So what basically what you would do is in these cutscenes you would just stitch all these different animations together. So you would say, let's say I have to say something, and it, I would, you know, it would be more like raise left hand aggressively or uh, turn around violently, whatever. But so it is motion captured in a way, but of course, they're not like completely motion captured scenes that are that are recorded. Um, but yeah, these cutscenes, these gameplay cutscenes that I like to call them, they are not they are not great. The facial expressions are terrible. They feel very robotic, and if you play it in English, oh my god, it is just bad. There's no other way to say this. It is just terrible, terrible, terrible. I hate it. It's so bad. Um, thank God they have the Japanese voice acting, because Japanese voice acting is very good. 99% of the characters in this game, insanely good voice acting. Um, but yeah, there's obviously the catch that the cutscenes aren't very good. The motion capture cutscenes, very good. There's not a whole lot of them, but when there are these cutscenes, they're usually for like important moments. They are very good. Um, so Act 3, let's talk about Act 3. Act 3 is probably my favorite part of the game. Um, and it just it's very good. I don't know how to say it. How to say it. It's not amazing. I wouldn't say this game is anywhere near Valhalla in terms of a story standpoint. Valhalla was very good. Um, but it is great. There are some very good moments, and I really, really like how Yasuke is tied into this narrative, and I really, really like Yasuke as a character. I don't like to play as him because the gameplay just doesn't appeal to me. And of course, the world is not designed to accommodate Yasuke. There's a lot of things, a lot of viewpoints, a lot of different exploration and different side activities that you have to do that you just can't do with Yasuke. You can't get to most of the viewpoints with Yasuke. Yes, there are some viewpoints where you have to climb up as Yasuke, but it's much, much faster to just switch to Naoe and get up there. Um, which is a shame because Yasuke as a character is very good. Easily my most favorite character in this game. And Naoe, I mean, yeah, she's good. She's good, but her story is like, her arc is that uh, not that appealing to me. I mean, it's all right. Yasuke is definitely very, very interesting. I really want to see more of him, and I'm looking forward to the Claws of Awaji DLC because it could, I don't know if it'll continue Yasuke's story, but like it might continue. It's set after the events of the game, from what I know. So Act 3 is mostly with Yasuke. It's mostly to do with Yasuke, and I think it's kind of the best part of the game for me. But also because it's with Yasuke, the gameplay is not my favorite. Uh, there's not a whole lot of stealth that you can do with him during this act because it's Yasuke. Um, so they didn't really implement Naoe into Act 3 because Act 3 is mostly just to do with Yasuke. I wish they implemented Now Way as well because it just doesn't make sense to not uh, do that. If you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. So Act 3 is very good. There's some very good moments that I like. For the most part, though, this game is not it. It didn't really hit the mark for me from a story standpoint. But then again, when I think about it, I expected a lot worse. So Act 3 was a pleasant surprise because Act 2 is where I thought the game was going to end, but then all of a sudden we find out there's another act, and that surprised me, and it was a very good act. And Yeah, so Yasuke as a character, very interesting. From a gameplay standpoint, not that interesting. Combat with him is fun. And it's fun with Naoe as well, but for some reason they nerfed her so bad. You just have to you just like you have to stab an enemy like 20, 30, 40 times for them to die. Not exactly. I'm kind of exaggerating here, but it's kind of funny to see her just stabbing a person repeatedly and just doing barely any damage compared to Yasuke, who can just hit them 2 times and they'll be dead. Um, but yeah, so the story is, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, that's tough. That's tough because Act 1 and Act 3 are actually uh, they're actually very good. Act 2, which is a majority of the story, it's a big part of the story. It takes, if you think about it, Act 1, if you think of Act 1 as like 20% of the story, and then Act 3 as like 30% of the story, then Act 2 will be about 50% of the story. So yeah, it's a pretty big part of the story, and it's not good. So having essentially half your story not be good is not a good sign. So from a story standpoint, I would probably have to give this game a 7, maybe, but maybe a 6. I don't know. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't play the game because the gameplay is very good, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So stealth in this game has been revamped, and it is easily the best it's been in the series. And oh my god, now way gameplay is so addicting. I I spend hours just when the game opens up and you're sort of you're out in the open world, and you can do after the prologue. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Um, I think I spent about what 30 or 40 hours just just going about doing side stuff, stealth taking down castles as Naoe. I played about 40 hours before I did the first quest after the prologue. Not even finish the first like act or whatever. I I didn't play the first quest after finishing the prologue until I was about like 40 hours in, and then I thought, you know what, maybe I should play the story a bit. I kind of had to force myself because I knew going in the story would not be the strongest suit of this game, but it did surprise me because Act 1 and Act 3 were good, as I've said. Um, but yeah, gameplay is very good. Naue has a lot of tools that she could use. She has the throwing knives, the throwing stars, the shinobi bell, and smoke bombs. So these are very you have these in limited numbers, so you want to use them uh, as strategically as possible. And you could use the throwing knives and throwing stars through doors, through the shoji doors, and through thin like cloth, you know cloth, oh my god, I'm forgetting the word. Okay, you could use these through you know uh, shoji doors and a few other places where it realistically a knife could pass through it. Um, of course, you'll also have to focus on getting your kunai damage up through the abilities, which is kind of stupid. But then again, this is the RPG AC, so it would have these RPG elements. And oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's talk about the hidden blade damage. So this has been very controversial. People don't like that. You can't one-shot enemies, which is why they have guaranteed assassination. But if you truly want to experience this game for what it is, because it's not, don't think this is a return to form for Assassin's Creed. This is not. a classic Assassin's Creed, or it's not trying to be a classic Assassin's Creed game. It is an RPG, like Origins was, like Odyssey was, like Valhalla kind of was. I don't really know if we could say Valhalla was a RPG to the extent that Origins Odyssey were, but yeah. So you can't one-shot assassinate enemies in this. It's not related to your level. People have been sort of misunderstanding that it's related to your level. It's not related to your level. From when you start the game, now a can take. It's basically health bars. You'll have health segments. Like enemies will have two or three or four or five, or even one health segment. And from the start, now we can take down two health segments with the assassination, and you can upgrade that through your skill tree, and you could get it up to five health slots, which is still which is great for most enemies, but you'll still find yourself seeing a lot of enemies, mostly targets, whether it's the main targets or the side targets. Usually, these targets have more health segments, so you would need some good engravings on whatever gear you have that'll grant you additional assassination damage. So yeah, it's not my favorite part of the game, but it does encourage me to focus on upgrades and different engravings, and try out different builds. And like based on different situations, I would have to switch to different gear. Let's say I have to assassinate an enemy, but he's two extra health segments out of my range. I would have to switch to a gear which allows me to assassinate someone with two extra bars. But sometimes, if I can't do that, it might say I'll have to air assassinate someone. So then I'll have to figure out how do I get around this enemy without being seen, and air assassinate him, because this specific gear that I have has an engraving that says plus two health segments on air assassinations, or plus two health segments on assassinations from shadows, or there's a bunch of different engravings like that. Additional assassinations, additional health slot for rush assassinations, which is the assassination with the kusarigama, where you throw the kusarigama at an enemy and then leap at him, lunge at him. And you have running assassination. You have a lot. There's a lot you can do in this game, and when it comes to creating your builds and engravings and everything, this is easily the most fun an Assassin's Creed game has ever been. And stealth, as I've said, is very, very good. And when you tie all these things together, with the tools that you have and the engravings and the builds that you can do, and the fact that you also have recruits now, recruits that have their own identities, they have their own stories, and you have to help them to get them to join you, and you could upgrade them, change their clothing and everything. There's a lot, and for the most part, uh, it's great. And the only problem I have is that the movement sometimes can be a bit annoying. The movement is largely the same as the RPG era, Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. It's not changed much, except they've somehow managed to make it a bit more stickier, if you know what I mean. The Naoe just is very stubborn. Sometimes an enemy might be detecting me on a rooftop. I might be on a rooftop and he'll see me, and I want to climb down to the other side so he doesn't see me. But now he just refuses to move, and sometimes she'll do an exaggerated flip, and the animation that plays when she does the flip, his detection meter will fill up, and the guard will see me. So that's kind of annoying. But for the most part, stealth is very good. Gameplay is fantastic, because if you play the game on stealth as on expert mode, it becomes incredibly challenging, but it's also just that much more satisfying. You can't use rooftops anymore as liberally as you would have in the past, because enemies realistically can see you up there. They can hear you. They can see you. So you'll most of the time you'll have to go prone, or you'll have to use some distractions. You'll have to get creative. There's a lot you can do. You can manipulate enemies, and that's what I like about this game. There's a lot you can do, and it rewards you for being creative, for taking risks. It rewards you for mastering its systems. And yeah, just I love it. I really, really love the stealth in this game. Um, and the side content for Naoe and Yasuke is different. So with Naoe, you have the Kujikiri. You have a bunch of different activities you can do. Kujikiri, which will sort of tie into, which is important. Okay, if you're playing the game, if you're about to play the game, I urge you to do these. They're very important, and also you would need to do these anyway because you'll need knowledge points. Now, knowledge points and mastery points are different. Mastery points allow you to, buy skills or whatever. Whereas knowledge points are you get these through doing side activities with Naoe and Yasuke or killing. No, yeah, no, it is with just with side activities, and you get these knowledge points. Which accumulate and you'll gain knowledge ranks. With knowledge ranks, you'll unlock new tiers of abilities, new tiers which will have more, more abilities or higher uh, higher tiers or versions of the existing abilities that you may have. So these are very important to do. And Naoe and Yasuke have their own different side activities that you can do. They have their own side missions that you could do, but most of them might just be, you could do these as Naoe or Yasuke. When it comes to the recruits, when you have to do their quests, for the most part, you could just do them as Naoe or Yasuke. Some of them, yeah, they're pretty specific with who you have to play as, and even with side quests, yes, some of them they're very specific with who you have to do them as. But for the most part, the side stuff in this game is very good. The castles are easily my favorite part because it's so fun to just take them out as Naoe. And I remember in my first castle, I think I spent 2 in-game days because it just took it was a huge castle and there was so many guards and they're placed very well. And with the shadows, with the light and shadow system where you can hide in the shadows and extinguish lights, it is amazing. It's very dynamic. These, like, you basically have these hiding spots that are created dynamically, and as the time changes, they will eventually, based on the time of day, the shadows will move, and you might not have as much cover. And it doesn't mean you're always invisible in shadows either. It looks pretty realistic. Like, you'll know when you might be hidden in the shadows, and of course the game will tell you as well. And uh, you also aren't completely invisible. Sometimes if you're moving, guards might notice you in the dark if they're up close, or if you could just be standing still. If they come very close to you, they'll notice you just like in real life. But yeah, that is the side stuff. I don't want to talk about all of the side stuff because we'd be here all day, and we're already in this video pretty far. Uh, but yeah, so as I've said, the parkour is not very good. The side stuff is interesting. There's good stuff there. Uh, does it get a bit too much at times? Yes, it gets a bit too much at times. You'll unlock these different targets, like different like random groups uh, of like side targets, and you'll have to track them down and kill them as you would have to kill the traditional uh, targets in Odyssey or Valhalla. But yeah, for the most part, I think at times it gets a bit too much. It's like there's so many different side targets to do in this game. But at times I do like it because the gameplay with Naoe is just so addicting that I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. Um, but yeah, so the parkour is not good, and I keep coming back on the parkour because with Naoe, as I've said, the gameplay is very fun. The parkour is it's just not good. It's the worst part of the game for me, and normally the parkour wouldn't have been that much of a big deal in this game because I knew going in that the setting wouldn't allow for good parkour. But sometimes it's just so annoying. I mean, they removed back inside ejects like Mirage had them. I I don't know why they would do that, but they did that. So I mean, it's just like it's nowadays almost perfect when it comes from like to a gameplay standpoint. What you want, what you would want an assassin to be, she is pretty much just almost there. But the lack of good parkour and social stealth, which is another thing that this game is lacking. I don't know why it's lacking. It's also lacking black box missions. There's only like one point in like one main assassination where like you could give a dog food, or sorry, take a dog's food away, and the dog would start barking, and that would lure your target to that area, and then you could assassinate him. But that's it, and that's terrible. Valhalla had black box assassinations. Mirage had black box assassinations. So this game should have had black box assassinations too. But I digress. The stealth was so fun. I didn't really care most of the time because just getting to your target was very challenging for the most part. So it was fun in its own way. But yeah, I would have liked social stealth. Social stealth just not being here doesn't make sense. But of course, you would also need dense crowds for social stealth, and this game doesn't have dense crowds at all. You will hardly see people on the street. I mean, they're not. It's not as bad as say Origins or Odyssey. Uh, you'll still see a good number of NPCs on the screen, but very rarely in very like certain areas. But for the most part, it's pretty barren. There's not a lot of people, which is very. It just the world just feels kind of lifeless at times because of that. But if we're talking about the world, then yes, okay. Apart from the NPCs, the lack of NPCs, where it feels kind of lifeless, this is the most living, breathing Assassin's Creed world we've ever had. I know it sounds ironic because I just said there's hardly many NPCs, but hear me out. So with the new Anvil pipeline, they have this just improved physics engine and weather system, which is amazing. I mean, oh my god, videos do not do this game justice. You'll have to play it yourself because when I was watching videos before the game came out, the game looked good, no doubt, but it wasn't to an extent where I thought, yeah, this is just something else. This is, insane. After playing the game, my mind is blown. This is the most lived in, probably one of the most lived in worlds, most lived in, most just just I don't know what to say. I love it. I love the world so much. You have to play the game for yourself. It's crazy. Like the world feels so alive and just so realistic. Like it's almost on par, if not better, in some areas. I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this, but in some area, sometimes, okay. And I'm not saying this as a fan. I'm not saying this by as There's no bias here because if like truth be told, I don't like Assassin's Creed. I'm just doing this so I can meet Darby. I'm not really an Assassin's Creed fan. So it's better in some areas than Red Dead 2. That's right. I said it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna someone's gonna kill me for that. But yeah, okay. Sometimes the world just it feels very alive. There's a lot happening. Uh, is it the most realistic? Like sometimes it might feel a bit exaggerated, uh, whereas Red Dead just completely feels grounded. This might sometimes feel, a bit exaggerated, a bit like Ghost of Tsushima, for example, is not exactly photorealistic. It has an art style that makes it look like a painting, and this game does something similar. It's not like Ghost, but it it has its own art style. It's kind of it's photorealistic, but at the same time it makes it a bit more beautiful. It's like uh, I don't know how to explain it. You'll just have to play the game for yourself. You'll have to trust me on that. The world in this game is very beautiful, and with the seasons, with the changing of the seasons, the entire map will change, and it's a whole new experience going to different areas in different seasons and just watching how it changes. And I love it. There's not if I could sit here for an hour talking about how beautiful the world of this game is, and how great the physics are. I mean, the cloth physics, all the different physics are just amazing. Um, the destruction physics, all that, they're great. I love it. But yeah, so this game is, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, all things considered, the gameplay, story, everything, um, I would probably give it an 8. Yeah, I think I would give it an 8. Yeah. But uh, there's some controversial parts of the game, uh, namely the music. So there's points where the music just sort of, there's some hip hop themes, and I'm not saying, the Yasuke music. I'm talking about this music plays in combat sequences, whether you're playing as Naoe or Yasuke. There's some hip hop type music, and it's kind of out of place. Now, I would give it the benefit of the doubt that it's because of the animus, because a bunch of Assassin's Creed games have had sort of these elements of music that made it sort of feel out of place, sort of sci-fi, and that kind of reminded you that you are in fact in an animus. I don't know if that was intentional in this game, but yeah, there's some music that kind of feels a bit out of place, but I like it for the most part. It feels a little out of place, I'll be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's good. You'll just have to get used to it. I mean, you can't really change the music in the game. But I mean, the soundtrack by The Flight, for the most part, is very good. And like the music changes dynamically according to what you're doing. So if you're in a castle, the music, it'll play very quietly, but then let's say you're about to get detected, or you whistle for an enemy to come to you, or they're investigating you, the music will react dynamically and it will keep changing according to what's happening. And it's easily the best in the series. I don't think any other game has done this before. uh, Mirage did this, but it was more like you had undetected version, and then you had the detected version of the music, and then you had the out of sight, about to lose the enemy's version of some tracks. But for the most part, they've never sort of done this to the extent that Shadows is doing, where like it just keeps changing based on what is happening, and it's very good. And we had Teke Teke make the music for Naoe for some of her important story moments, and Thunder Drum featuring Tiggs the Otter for Yasuke. And I have to say, Ukombozi, holy crap, it it goes so hard. It is amazing. And I mean, oh God, I mean, it's just I love it. I love it. They elevated Yasuke's scenes so much, and I love it. I love the music for Yasuke. Naoi's music by Tekken Teki is good as well, but I mean, my God, they killed it with Yasuke's tracks, banger after banger. I love it. I love it. It's very good. So yeah, we are done pretty much with the non-spoiler stuff. Now, if you haven't played the game and want to play it, or you don't want to be spoiled, then I would suggest you to click off here. Before you click off, please like, comment. I feel like I'm begging, but come on. I want to be a part of something. I want to. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. So yeah, so as I've said, this is where the non-spoiler version of my review ends. So I will start talking about the spoilers now. So if you haven't played the game, or don't want to be spoiled, I'd say you can click off here. Before you click off, just you know like the video or subscribe. So thank you. You're probably not going to do that anyway, but whatever. So let's move on to the spoiler review of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Act 1 begins with Yasuke, and we see him uh, coming and meeting Oda Nobunaga. And it's interesting because I was fully expecting the opening to begin with Naoe, but it begins with Yasuke, and is very good. Uh, there's not really much that's happening here, but then I mean, basically, there's not a whole lot of exposition dump that happens, which is good. Though the way they structured the stories of Yasuke and Naoe are interesting, and I think they're kind of risky, but they're also good. For me, I like it. I like it because they're not sort of they're not taking up a lot of time. There's not a whole lot of exposition dump. The game just you just get in right there with Naoe losing her friends and family, which is sad for her. But then, of course, over the course of the game, when you do the Kujikiri, the meditation things, you'll get to learn about her past, which is good. I like that they've done that. It's a bit risky, but look, they've decided to do it that way. We can't change it. So it allows the prologue of the game to just not have any slow moments. Most of it is just fast paced. This thing happens, that thing happens, and you're swept up by all this everything that's happening, and it is very strong. The prologue in this game is very strong, but that's kind of where it fell apart for me after the prologue. You have the first assassination of the Teppo the the Teppo girl, and that was not I I don't know what to say about this cutscene. It was not great, not great. I didn't like it. Um, but yeah, for the most part, Act One was good. The part where Naoe goes uh, goes to Oda Nobunaga, I thought I was a bit disappointed when I found out that Oda Nobunaga was the head of the Shinbakufu. But then you go there, and then you're about to kill him, and then you find out that he's not. And I was surprised because I thought Quebec would definitely pull the, oh, he's part of the Shinbaku, but he's not. So that was surprising to me. But yeah, he's not part of the Shinbaku, which is good. And the cutscene that with him and Oda Nobunaga and Yasuke, and with Yasuke and Naoe, and he recognizes the blade and everything. I loved it. And then even more, the I loved Naoe and Yasuke, the scene where they joined together, because that scene was very good. It does fall apart, unfortunately, after Act 1, because Act 2 is very non-linear. I don't care about these targets because I just don't care. There's not much investment there. They're not that interesting. They don't have much involvement. They don't know about the box. They're like, oh, box? What box? I don't know about the box. And of course, I would say that because it's a non-linear structure, you can't have one of the targets saying, "Oh yeah, I know the box. It's over there," because the next target you kill is going to be like, "What box? I don't know about anything," because you're not going to kill the next target like that. There's no order of doing things, and it's a shame because the non-linear structure is really killing them. There's not much to talk about in Act Two. Of course, when you finally kill the head of, well, not the head, but when you kill Akechi Mitsuhide, it's an interesting cutscene where Naoe is she's kind of insane, but this is a bug from what I've heard. It's a bug, and yeah, it kind of ruined the moment for me. But yeah, and then you meet the head of the Shinbakufu, who is kind of just sitting there, and he's like, yeah, let's make a deal, whatever. What happens after Act 2 to me is the most interesting. Act 1 was the most interesting. Act 3 is the most interesting. Act 2 is not interesting at all, which is a shame because it's a big part of the story. So Act 3 is essentially when you sort of get introduced to Yasuke's past, the Templars that are after him, and that this is very good. Each target was kind of memorable, uh, and I liked how they tied the Templars into Yasuke's past, and they also tied that into how he knew what the Hidden Blade was. But of course, you might say it's too little, too late. Yeah, kind of, because really we find out about the Templars in like near the end of the game, and then Yasuke at the end just says, "I declare war on the Templar Order." No, Yasuke, you don't declare war on the Templar Order. You're not going anywhere. You're going to be in Japan. You're going to be in Japan. You're not going to Constantinople or wherever the Templars might be. Sorry, not Constantinople. They're not there anymore. But you're not going to go anywhere where the Templars might be. So I don't know how they're going to implement this later in the game. Maybe with the Claws of Awaji DLC or some other DLC. The Templars randomly decide, you know what? Hey, hey, what happened to that guy in Japan, the Templar that we sent there? What happened to him? And they're gonna go there, and then that's when we're gonna kill him. I don't know. The Templar story was interesting. I liked that they tied it with Yasuke, and even though I don't like playing as Yasuke, I like his story, and I like him as a character, and I find him very interesting. So I liked that the game kind of, like it just focused on Yasuke towards the final act. I didn't like playing as him doing these assassinations, but what can you do? Naoe doesn't have much of involvement in the Templars for whatever reason. She's just like, oh, she didn't actually. No, she doesn't say anything about them. It's kind of disappointing. Uh, but the assassins, of course, also don't exist because they died with they. Oh God, they basically died with her father, uh, which is so stupid. And of course, Hattori Hanzo, who is a an assassin. We know he's an assassin. He's always been an assassin in AC lore. In this game, he's kind of not an assassin. He. I'm very confused actually about this because he says he didn't care. He clearly says he doesn't care about the creed. He was only there because, he liked Naoe's mom, Suyu. But yeah, I don't know whether to say he's an assassin or not because maybe he became an assassin, for the ulterior motive of getting with Naoe's mom. But did he actually ever become an assassin? We don't really know. Let's see. Maybe we might find out in the future DLCs. I don't know if we will, but let's keep our fingers crossed because Hattori Hanzo, I don't like him. I don't like him in this game at all. Uh, the assassins not existing anymore was also kind of stupid. And Naoe calling her league the League of the Hidden Blade was also just very on the nose. Not even on the nose. It's just I don't even know what to say. The League of the Hidden Blade. I don't know what they were thinking when they came up with that. Um, I don't know why she didn't decide to call them assassins. She could have called the League. She could have called them assassins. That word clearly existed by then. She could have called them anything because later on, if you do some of the path the the assassin bureaus or whatever, the outposts as they're called in this game, you'll kind of learn that you'll learn that they were called assassins, but she never decides to call them assassins, which is stupid. But what can you do? So I don't know. This game is kind of a mess when it comes to the story. Uh, but when it comes to Naoe's mother, we find out that she may be alive. Okay, that's good because there's actually one Japanese an actual assassin remaining. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Hope that the clause of Awaji DLC or I don't know some other DLC has something to do with with Naoe's mother or I don't know Naoe becoming an assassin or finding out about the assassins. Even though she kind of has found out about them, she barely knows anything about them. Eivor probably knows more about the assassins than Naoe, which is kind of insane. Especially because the assassins were definitely existing at this time. I don't know why they're treating Japan as some kind of backwater place where like, oh, assassin. Why would an assassin be here? Why would the Brotherhood be here? No, it doesn't make any sense at all. The assassins should definitely have been in this game. Them sort of retconning Hattori Hanzo and the literal Brotherhood, the Japanese Brotherhood, doesn't make sense at all. But that's Ubisoft Quebec for you. However, the gameplay kind of look. The gameplay is so fun. I kind of don't really care if the story is bad at some points, because the last bit with Yasuke kind of saved it for me. But yeah, it's not great. And the modern day is let's not even talk about the modern day because they have this battle pass thing where you have weekly animus quests. You do those quests, they're not even that great, um, and then you'll unlock a couple, like maybe like one data file, and yeah, it's I don't really like it. Uh, could Montreal do something with this with Hexa? Yeah, I have hope they could. I don't know if they will. I hope they do, but you know, modern day is not really a priority for Assassin's Creed anymore, which is a shame. It hasn't been for a long while. Valhalla did something great, but of course, I knew Ubisoft would not be able to keep up with it. But yeah, I have been speaking for a long time. It's about 50 minutes now, so you know what? This is my Shadows review. I didn't script this out or anything because I wanted to be as, as raw, I guess, or as I don't know. I just wanted to be very open, very just I did what my immediate thoughts are of the game. I've played the game. I finished it a few days ago, and I I stopped playing the game for like a day or two. I didn't play it for 2 days after I finished the story because I just wanted to process my thoughts. And now I'm recording this because this is just these are just my raw thoughts of how I feel after finishing the game. It could change a bit in the future. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure what I'm saying now is set in stone. Uh, the game is an 8 out of 10 for me, mostly because of the gameplay. The gameplay is what saves it. The story, the story, yeah. Act 1, Act 3, good. Act 2, half of the story, bad. But yeah, for the most part, this game was a good surprise. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I was definitely expecting to wait till next year or longer for Hexa because I thought that's going to be the great Assassin's Creed game. But then this came out and it was a very good, very fun, very enjoyable experience from a gameplay standpoint, kind of a story standpoint. So yeah, uh, that's my thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows. I would rate it an 8, maybe out of 10. And yeah, that is that is Assassin's Creed Shadows, the controversial game. It's sold pretty well so far. People still think that it could have saved Ubisoft if it sold 15 million or 10 million or even 50 million. Look, it was never going to save Ubisoft. This was a make it or break it game in the sense that it just it would have made their demise even sooner if it failed. It would have definitely set in stone an even worse deal with Tencent for Ubisoft if this game had sold bad. But because of the earnouts, I imagine with Shadows doing so well, Ubisoft would be in a pretty good situation where like they still have a bit of a trump card here. Like I mean, they're still selling 25% of their stake to Tencent in with these IPs, but Ubisoft still remains creative control of these franchises. So yeah, uh, Tencent is not making Assassin's Creed, except for Assassin's Creed Jade, which no one cares about and no one will ever play. I don't like Jade. That's a topic for another time, but this is my Shadows review. I hope you liked it. I know it's pretty long. I was not expecting it to be this long. I planned it to be 15 minutes, 20 maybe, but I kept talking about this game. Anyway, uh, I'm gonna try to be more consistent with videos now. I want to make a bunch of shadows videos. I want to make a bunch of different videos that I can't talk about yet, and I also want to talk about Assassin's Creed Hexa. I want to cover the possible time period and setting of that game in incredible detail at some point. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next video.